Hi, and welcome back to Professor A Designs. This video is going to be the next step in our photo restoration project for my students. So you should get a good idea on this tutorial of how to create groups from your layers and how to duplicate layers and how to rearrange layers. After we get through this step, the next video will discuss actually starting the restoration process and getting rid of the tear and fixing all of the different elements in the image to make it a complete photo. So this for your project, I actually need to see your work. What that means is that I need to see this layer mask. I need to see the adjustment layers that you added in order to give you full credit for your assignment. However, this tends to create a little conundrum with Photoshop. Photoshop doesn't always like for to do the clone and the patch tool and all the other tools that you're going to need in the editing and correcting of these different um, flaws in the photograph. So what we're going to do is create a way that I can see your work, but also make it easier for you to correct the image and make that process go smoother. So as we've been editing this image, we've been renaming the different elements of it. So what we're going to do now is actually create some groups from these layers that are going to make it easier for us to edit these images. So the first thing I want to do is I want to use my command tool. Right now, the left side of my image, that layer is highlighted, and I'm going to hit command and also select the left side curves layer because these two layers go together. In order to group them, I am going to right click or control click on those two layers that I have highlighted, and I'm going to select group from layers out of that menu. So I'm going to name this group um, left side and click OK. And so now inside this little folder or this group, I have the two layers that pertain to the left side of the image. Now that I've done that, I'm going to do the exact same thing with the right side of the image. So I'm going to select that first right side layer and then command and click on the right side to select both of those. Right click or hold down control and click on those two layers and select group from layers again. And I'm going to name this right side. So now we have two groups that definitively segment the two sides of our images, or the two sides of our image, and the correction or adjustment layers that we've assigned to those layers. Our next step is going to be duplicating these so that we can make our job of editing these two pieces together a lot easier. So I want to right click or control click on this, and I want to duplicate group. It's going to name it left side copy automatically. I'm going to accept that. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing with the right side. So right click or control click, duplicate group. Right side copy, I'm going to accept that. So now I have four different groups and a duplicate. So of each group, the original group, the left side and the right side, I have copies of each of those. I want to take these copies and I want to place them, I want to rearrange them inside my layers panel so that these are on top. So I want my left side copy and my right side copy on top. And for the sake of simplicity, we're going to go ahead and hide these bottom two layers. Since we're not going to work with these anymore, you're telling me basically, Professor A, I've got my right side and here's what I did to it, and here's my left side and here's what I did to it, so here's my work. So in order to make our lives simpler, uh, take we're going to modify the left side copy group by selecting the drop down. So the first thing we're going to do is apply this layer mask, because sometimes this having all of this excess information in here creates a little bit of trouble with Photoshop when we're cloning and using the patch tool. So I'm going to select on the layer mask. I am going to right click or control click on it and click apply layer mask. So now I just have the left side of my image and the curves layer. Well, even the curves layer is a color adjustment, and so it's providing more information to Photoshop. So I want to get rid of that too. But instead of deleting it, I'm going to command and click on it so that both the left side and the left side curves layer are selected. And again, I'm going to right click or control click on that, and I want to merge these layers. So now all of the changes that I made that adjusted the color and took out the and applied the mask to it. So now I have a single image to work with. And will now ungroup these layers, and I'm going to rename this as merged left side. This lets me know that this is the completely edited section, left side section of the image. I'm going to do the same thing with the right side image. So I'm going to control or right click on the layer mask and apply it. Then I'm going to select both of these layers, control click or right click, and merge. And then I'm going to select my right side copy, control click or right click, and ungroup those layers. And I'm going to rename merged right side. So now I have two clean and corrected copies of my image, but I'm still showing my work in the groups. So this should make your life a lot easier. I can also rearrange these as I wish. And again, I can select to view those lower layers. I can always make them visible or take them away. For the sake of this part of the video, we're just going to leave those invisible. We don't need them. We're going to move on in the next video to patching this photo and using some clone tools to really restore this image to its original integrity. So play around with this. Remember, save often. You don't want to have to come back and do this over and over again. Please use the naming conventions that I mentioned, that I walk you through in another video on this YouTube channel. Make sure everything you save uses that naming convention, and just have fun with it. Any questions or comments, leave them for me under the video or email me, and I'm looking forward to moving on to the next segment.